Are you a fan of history? Are you a fan of Irish history? Are you a fan of cultural Irish history? Better yet, are you a fan of the hit RTE television TV show Reeling in the Years? If the answer is yes, then my friends, I have got the podcast for you. My name is Kieran Walsh and I'm the host of Reeling in Your Ears, which is a chronological look at and retrospective look back at every episode of Reeling in the Years, year by year. Every week, Friday, 8 p.m, launches on Spotify. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Simon Chadwick, and a different guest each week as we discuss the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, the laughs, the tears, and everything in between of all of the years as shown on Reeling in the Years. So come along and join us as we enjoy moments like this.
I reckon they'd have to name the restaurant 1F Kennedy's.
And this.
No, and see, there was no need to put a hood on him. Like, there's no hood on him at all. And he won a race. So, I mean, like, that KKK guy could learn a thing or two.
8 p.m. every Friday, where you find your podcasts. Reeling in Your Ears. Come join the madness.
Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Joe.
And this is Crime Divers.
Hello everybody, welcome back.
Hello.
So Laura, are you ready for another episode?
Always ready for another episode. Where in the world are we today?
We're actually in the same place as we were on my last episode. Well, not exactly the same place. We're in Canada.
Oh, we're in Canada
We're
again.
in Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
And what's it called?
Oh, do you really want to know?
Well, obviously I need to
It's
know.
another horrible one. It's a
What is it called?
Mummy Don't.
Oh no, not another child one.
Soz.
Ugh. I only just recovered from the last one.
Soz.
Right,
Do you want me to dive in?
go on then.
Right. Karissa Boudreau was born on the 4th of October 1995 and she lived with her mum in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. Her parents, Penny and Paul, had split up, but she was very close to her dad and he had an active role in her upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
Her parents had split up when Penny was pregnant with Karissa, and then Penny had got together with Paul's brother, Shane.
Oh.
And they'd been together for like 10 years.
All right, okay.
So he was like a stepdad.
Keeping it in the family.
Yeah. I know, like... But I think... See, I'm not sure about like Paul and Penny.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe theirs wasn't... I don't know, it doesn't tell you anything about their relationship before, so I'm thinking maybe it wasn't like a serious thing. Maybe that's why it was all right.
Yeah.
That,
And she just happened to get pregnant.
yeah. So, and then like she just went on to get together with Shane, so maybe
So then he's
he
like
seems
his
alright with it.
Stepdad/uncle.
Yeah. But it seemed to work okay,
Okay.
so...
Yeah.
But they'd split up when Karissa was 10.
Right.
So Penny and Paul, her parents, both her parents, got on with each other pretty well, and they shared custody, you know, everything was fine. But Karissa didn't always get along with her mum, Penny. At one point, Karissa had asked to move in with her dad, so she'd lived with him for about 5 months. But then she changed her mind. She went back to her mum's because she missed her mum, so she went back. So
Right.
it was nothing sinister or anything like that. She just missed her mum and
Yeah, fair enough.
just decided to go back. So Karissa enjoyed playing her Nintendo DS, going swimming, reading and listening to music. She loved the Spice Girls. I mean, like, who doesn't?
I love the Spice Girls.
Yeah,
when
you
I
love
was
the
little.
Spice Girls. Got to say, I didn't mind about the Spice Girls now and again.
I know. Can be a bit of a Spice.
So she loved Miley Cyrus and Hilary Duff. She loved animals and she hoped to become a vet when she grew up.
Mm-hmm.
So on the 27th of January 2008, when she was 12, Karissa went missing. So she had gone to a supermarket called Sobeys with her mum Penny.
Mm-hmm.
They'd had an argument, like in the car. So Penny went into the shop to get some shopping and Karissa just stayed in the car.
Right.
But when Penny came out after about 10-15 minutes, Karissa was nowhere to be seen. She wasn't in the car.
Right.
So they were concerned straight away as she was not dressed appropriately for the weather because, it's Nova Scotia and it's winter.
Yeah.
She only had jeans and a hoodie on and a pair of Crocs on her feet.
Oh, I hate Crocs.
Oh, they're so comfy though.
Oh, I hate them though. I think you're either a croc lover or a croc hater, isn't there?
They are the most ugliest thing, along with Ugg boots. They're the most ugliest thing
like
to
Ugg
look
boots.
at. I see you like Ugg boots.
Yeah.
But they're so ugly to look at, but honestly, they're so comfy.
I've never had a pair of Crocs.
Well, see, maybe you should buy a pair.
No, because they are awful.
I had a pair, and I went on holiday to Torremolinos, Spain.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a pair, I can't remember what colour, I think they were white,
Mm-hmm.
that I had. And I think we went to the crocodile park or something, and they were that comfy just to walk around in all day. And
Mm-hmm.
and then so I bought a pink pair, and I bought a blue pair. I went on holiday with one pair of Crocs, and I came back with about 4 or 5 pairs.
Nah.
I don't have them now though. That was years ago. I mean, we're talking about 10 years ago or something. I don't, not probably more than that actually. God knows. Anyway.
Well, I have to go say there's no Crocs lying around here.
No. Oh, actually, I don't have Crocs, but I do have a pair that is kind of similar, but they're upstairs, so you can't throw them in the bin.
Awful.
Laura tells me, if Laura doesn't like my shoe wear, she tells me to put them in the bin. Because you made me put my sliders in the bin, didn't
They
you?
were like way past their best. Let's be
They
honest.
were just covered in paint because I'd been painting with them on.
And I had just bought you some nice ones for your birthday.
That I still don't wear. They're still up in the cupboard because I want to keep them nice.
What's the point of buying them if you're not going to wear them?
I didn't buy them, you did.
Well, exactly. So my money has bought you a nice pair of sliders, and you don't wear them.
I wear my £5 ones for Aldi. No, they were only £5, they were $2.99 for Aldi. I wear those ones.
Well, I can tell you now, you can forget what you get for your birthday this year. Appreciate me.
Hey, anyway, so she was wearing Crocs. I do appreciate it. So she had jeans, a hoodie on, and a pair of Crocs on her feet. It was minus 18 degrees that night with heavy snow. So that's not appropriate clothing.
Well, no, definitely not.
So police launched a ground search of the area, but the snow really slowed them down. Mm-hmm. A helicopter search wasn't possible due to the weather conditions. So as each hour passed, concerns grew for Karissa's safety. Finally, the weather started to clear and the river started to thaw, so when it did, divers were sent in. But Karissa was just nowhere to be found.
Right.
So Penny, her mum, she did a press conference. Well, her stepdad and her dad never.
Yeah.
Everybody was there, but
Yeah.
like it was the mum that she did the talking, and she
Right.
was crying, and she was pleading with Karissa to come home, and she said, the usual, that she wasn't in trouble, just to come home,
Mm-hmm.
because people assumed that she'd ran away because she'd been in the car, and then she just wasn't there anymore when she came out of the shop. So the police investigated sightings of Karissa that people were calling in about. There were quite a lot of calls, and they were from places like Nova Scotia, New Brunswick and Ontario. Parents pitched in by putting up posters and creating pages on social media. Just the usual when somebody goes missing.
Yeah. There you go.
So 5 days after Karissa's disappearance, Penny did another press conference, but she still wasn't found. So 2 weeks after she went missing, there was a breakthrough in the case. A woman reported that her 9-year-old son had seen human toes sticking out of the snow on a riverbank in Bridgewater. An autopsy was performed and the remains were confirmed to be Karissa.
Oh, God.
So the chief medical examiner... I was doing well there.
You were doing
The
well.
chief medical examiner concluded that the cause of death was asphyxiation and that Karissa had been strangled.
Right.
Her clothing had been arranged that suggested that she had been sexually assaulted, but there were no other injuries.
Right.
So police started to come up with a theory of what happened. There was actually some thought that possibly Penny, her mum, did you just make a funny noise with your mouth there? What was that?
I don't know.
So there was thought that her mum, Penny, and or her boyfriend, Vernon Macumber, may have been involved.
Right.
So the investigators just didn't have any other suspects. And they'd interviewed a lot of people, and there was just no reason for this little girl to go missing. They just couldn't figure it out anyway.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So over the next couple of months, they did look at other possible suspects, obviously. Anyone in the area that seemed a bit strange and off. Anyone who had any type of criminal record involving children or sexual offences.
Yeah.
They looked at all of those possibilities, but they just kept coming back to her mum, Penny.
Right, okay.
So one of the officers said that after watching the press conference, it was actually his wife that said to him, "There's just something wrong there." I didn't see it. Maybe I'm just not observant. I mean, like, at the press, she was crying, there was tears, like, you know, I don't know what she saw that.
But she obviously saw something.
Yeah, she saw something. She said, nah, there's just something not quite right.
Not right. Maybe it was like a mother's intuition.
Maybe. So, also, he said, the police officer said that Penny was, like, she was very quiet and she didn't ask very many questions. Now, sorry, if your child went missing and you'd be asking the investigating officers everything, what's happening, like any updates, like
unless she's in shock and stuff. And
I suppose.
I mean, it could be that case, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, but you have to look at all angles. Especially when she was told that a body had been found, she never asked how Karissa had died. But then again, yeah, I mean, that could be a thing. Like, you're in shock. Maybe you just don't want to know yet.
You're in denial.
Like, yeah, exactly.
I mean,
maybe
there are reasonable reasons why you might not ask all the questions.
Yeah,
but
that's
equally
very
there
true.
could be a reason why you're not. It depends what kind of person you are, I suppose, because you could be somebody that's quite...
Well, it obviously looked strange to the officers, and maybe with other stuff, maybe the fact that there was no other suspects, you know, there was just...
Yeah,
I don't know.
And the last thing that happened was it had an argument, wasn't it? So, yeah, okay.
But in public, Carissa's dad, Paul, he went along with Penny's story of what had happened. He was just like, believed it, went, oh, right, okay, this...
Well,
you know,
why would you not?
Yeah, but privately, he also thought right from the start he thought something was off.
Right, okay.
I think maybe he just knew that his daughter wouldn't run off. You know, so but he also said that like her body language just wasn't right, because remember he knows this woman, so
yeah, that's true.
Like, you know, for what we would be looking at as a stranger's point of view, probably wouldn't pick up on things like that, but. And she just seemed more concerned with her boyfriend Vernon. Vernon had hurt his leg, and she just seemed to be more worried about attending to him than her missing daughter.
Right.
So Paula said that after Penny and his brother Shane had split up, she had become a different person, and it just sounds like maybe she put like boyfriends before anyone else. And in the December, Karissa, she'd actually expressed her own thoughts. Police found some handwritten notes in Carissa's bedroom when they were searching the apartment.
Right.
So on the 2nd of December, a note said, I'm mad because 1, Mum is engaged to Vernon. 2, Mum made me move here. 3, Mum broke up with Shane. 4, I want a bigger room. That's normal teenage things. For the room anyway. And 5, I don't like Vernon living with us. So that's kind of a bit... Makes you wonder what it is about Vernon that she doesn't like. I mean, I suppose it doesn't necessarily have to be anything major. Maybe it's just because she's missing her stepdad. And
well, that's it, because I mean, kids, you know, they don't always take too kindly to...
You don't have to like everybody.
No, you know, especially when their parents have split up with, say, their dad or their mum or whatever, and they bring somebody else into the home. I mean, they can take that quite badly, can't they?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're right, they're missing their parent that's gone or whatever, so it's...
But there's no evidence to say there was anything wrong with Vernon. Like, you know, it didn't...
Yeah.
So it could just be that, just teenager. Well, pre-teen, she was 12.
Yeah.
But, you know, just, I want my stepdad or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So 6, the end, my life was ruined by Karissa. That sounds so young, doesn't it? My life was ruined.
I know, totally.
And then there was another note on the same day, and it said, I'm sad because, 1, I have to go to school tomorrow. Feel you. I was like that every day.
Yeah.
I miss Shane and Tracy. I'm not sure Tracy's Shane had a daughter or something like that. Right. I don't know who Tracy is.
Right.
It's never mentioned. 3, I have to go to bed at 9:30 instead of 11. 4, I live in an apartment. 5, there's no room for my stuff. 6, I feel crowded. 7, end of story. My life sucks until we live in a house. By Karissa. So she obviously wasn't happy. They must have moved into an apartment from a house, and everyone's smaller, and she's not happy. She's not happy about it. So I think that kind of just pointed out that she wasn't that happy at home. Basically that. But I mean, a lot of that was just...
Yeah, I mean, those reasons aren't uncommon. I mean, they're, you know...
There's nothing... To me, there's nothing...
There's nothing sinister there.
Yeah, there's nothing bad in there. That to me, that's just... would be quite normal for a child that's in a split family and there's a new boyfriend moved in and obviously
have to move and
having a smaller room and all that. So you know, that to me that doesn't seem too bad.
No,
just that she's not as happy as she could be, I suppose. So the Bridgewater apartment was becoming a source of valuable evidence. Neighbours said that they heard Vernon and Penny arguing after after the fact.
Right, yeah.
After she went missing and that. And one said that Vernon shouted, "I know you did it, Penny. Why did you get me involved?" So a criminal profiler was brought in to compile a thorough outline of what they believed happened, but still investigators didn't seem to be getting anywhere. They had cooperation up to a point with Penny and Vernon, but that cooperation ended on the 14th of February when they were both brought in and arrested. So they cooperated up to that point. Yeah. When asked, "Did you have anything to do with Carissa's murder?" Penny's response was, "My lawyer advised me not to say anything." So she never denied it, and the investigators, they said if she had nothing to do with it, all she had to do was just say no. She didn't have to say anything else, just no.
That's what I always think when people start saying like no comment or, well, to me I'm like, well, you've obviously got something to hide there, because why else would you not say it?
I mean, because I get it, when the lawyers advise them to say no comment, you don't want to say stuff that's going to incriminate you, but to just say no. If you didn't do it, what is the problem with just saying no? I don't get that. Yeah. So to me, that if somebody says no comment, then So, but she just kept saying, "My lawyer advised me not to say anything."
Right. Okay.
So the day after the couple were arrested, they were released as there wasn't enough evidence to charge them. So investigators decided an undercover operation was the next step to take. So here we go with another Mr. Big sting operation. So. I mean, I said last week basically what it was, or last episode that I did, because I don't know which order these episodes are going to be in.
The last episode you did.
Yeah, it's where an undercover officer poses criminals. And after gaining the trust of a suspect, the undercover operators promised to make the problem go away. See, that's what I didn't explain in the last episode, because I didn't realise, because I did that one first. I never read it as in that way, so maybe that, because we were saying that it seemed a bit...
Like, how do they convince that was genuine and stuff?
Yeah, so maybe that's why they've been told, "We'll make your problem go away if you just come in."
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, we're on to this case now, so...
Yeah. That's that.
Yeah. After a while, the undercover operators told investigators that Vernon McCumber had nothing to do with Carissa's murder. They were convinced. He may have had some suspicions of some sort that Penny did it, but he had absolutely nothing to do with it. They were convinced. Right. So... the focus was then changed to Penny, because I think that would be pretty normal as well. Go to the stepdad before you would go to the mum, wouldn't you? Yeah. 4 months into the sting, Penny finally told the truth. She had murdered her own daughter. That's just...
it's going to make me so upset.
The undercover officers were shocked at her behaviour, though. She seemed happy as she described what she did, and she actually reenacted it for them. Like, it's one thing to kill your daughter, but like to actually be happy about it and reenact it, that's
disturbing.
Very disturbing. So, back to the day of the murder. So, Penny and Karissa had went to the Sobeys supermarket, as I said.
As we know, yeah.
And Karissa had stayed in the car, and Penny went into the shop. She'd got some juice and some bacon, and then she'd returned to the car where Karissa was waiting for her. So... this is where the lies started, because she obviously said Karissa wasn't in the car. Yeah. So she put the shopping in the boot of the car, and she grabbed a piece of beige twine and put it in her pocket. So this was planned.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not instinctive, is it?
No. They drove around for a while until it got dark. So basically, when they were driving around, Penny was making it out that she just wanted to have a chat with Karissa where she couldn't run off to her room and slam the door or anything like that. They were in the car. Yeah. There was no getting away from her. She wanted to chat with her, obviously, just about
what was going on.
Just normal mother-daughter stuff. Yeah. So that was her excuse for them driving around. So she drove around until it got dark. So when it got dark, she parked at a secluded spot, and they both got out of the car. Penny said that she pushed and tackled Karissa, and Karissa fell on her back. And the only thing that Karissa said to her was, "Mummy, don't." See? That's the title. Penny said Karissa was scared. She was face to face with her daughter, and then she used her knees to pin Karissa down, and she strangled her with the twine. She was actually looking her daughter in the face whilst pinning her down and strangling her. And all Karissa said was, "Mummy, don't."
That's
horrific, isn't it?
How could you do that to your child? And what a shame for her to be looking up thinking,
Mum, what are you doing?
The one person that's probably supposed to love me the most in the world is sitting on top of me, like, strangling me.
Awful, innit?
She
told the undercover officer that when there was no more breathing, she dragged Carissa's body and put her in the passenger side of her car. Then she drove back into town. Penny then drove to a second location by the river. Some of Carissa's clothing had come off in the process of her moving the body, but Penny left her undressed as she felt this would make people think that Karissa had been sexually assaulted. And to me, I'm just like, how could you leave your daughter in that undignified position? I mean, you've killed her, which is horrendous, but then you've actually left her with her, everyone showing, like that's no, awful.
That's awful.
That is beyond awful, beyond evil, beyond anything
that's despicable.
So she said that she rolled Carissa's body over the edge of the bank, knowing that the weather forecast was for lots of snow and that she wouldn't be found for a while. And she confessed that she'd been thinking about murdering Karissa for several days. So it was totally planned.
Totally premeditated.
Yeah. I mean, you'd think if somebody was going to...
How could you even think about murdering your own child? I mean, I'm sorry, but how? How does that even happen?
The way that I see it is, right? Because, I mean, there is a reason. I'll tell you that in a minute. But if you want rid of your daughter, go and let her go and live with her dad.
Well, yeah.
You know, like, there's other ways. Like, why would you think that murdering her was the way to go?
Yeah, that just...
let her go and live her life. And
exactly.
she can go and live it with somebody else. She doesn't need to be with you.
No, exactly. I mean, that's it. I mean, especially if you're in a split family. I mean, she's got the opportunity there to say to her, to the father, do you mind, look, I'm having a hard time with her, I need some space, can you take her, or whatever. Like, surely, obviously that's a better way.
Of course. There's always a better way than murder.
There are, mums and daughters that probably don't get on as they're growing up and stuff. It happens. It's life. But, you don't have to kill your child for it. You can, let's say, other ways of that, yeah.
It's just I just don't understand why you would think that was the way to go.
Well, exactly. It's just crazy.
So Penny was charged with first-degree murder, but she pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of second-degree murder.
I don't think they should allow you to do that.
No, I don't either. It's first-degree murder.
Exactly.
It was premeditated. That means it's first-degree murder.
Yeah.
So Penny's guilty plea spared family and friends from an agonising trial. Carissa's dad said that it would have been a long drawn out process, that as bad as it was, it probably would have made the situation worse. So he was actually
glad.
Yeah, she was still getting punished. And
yeah, I suppose I get that.
Yeah, Penny never showed any signs of remorse. She did say she was sorry in court, but it was weak. And it's more like she was sorry that she got caught rather than the fact that she'd murdered her own daughter. It wasn't until she was shown a bit of video of her talking to the undercover officer describing what she did that she finally broke down. So I think that's why she cried, because she watched herself confessing.
Yeah.
So she's probably kicking herself for confessing.
Well, yeah, hi. That sounds more like it.
So no one could understand why a 34-year-old woman with no previous criminal record would do something so horrific. Do you want to know why she killed her?
Oh, there actually is a reason.
Penny told the undercover investigator that it was to save her relationship with Vernon.
Really? So she chose her boyfriend.
Yeah, but what he says and what she says is two different things. She says that he gave her an ultimatum to pick either him or Karissa. Karissa, you would pick your daughter every time, even if that was the case, you pick your daughter.
Exactly. But even if you did choose your boyfriend, send her to her dad's.
Exactly.
Jesus.
But Vernon said that he had no idea that Penny would murder Karissa. He denied that he gave her an ultimatum. He said that he only told Penny that the fighting between her and Karissa could not continue. Which, I get that. That's kind of what anybody would say.
It's obviously putting a strain on their relationship. Yeah. So he's saying, I can't cope with this anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he's not come out and said choose, but maybe he's given the impression that I can't cope with it, so if it continues, I might have to think about leaving or something along those lines. And she's took that as...
How? How would you take that? And if I took that as, I was like, I don't want... If I took that in that way, I'd be like, well, I don't want you in my life. I don't want a man who's going to make me murder my daughter.
Or I'm just going to, if you need to sort a problem, like, you know, try and sort out your differences with your daughter and make it better for everybody or whatever.
And the thing is, it's temporary as well. She's 12 years old. That's, you know, whatever behaviour she's displaying or whatever, I mean, it's probably pretty typical 12-year-old behaviour. But it's temporary. That child will grow up. Like, yeah, you've still got your teenage years to go through, but she will grow up. But like, by ending that permanently, it's horrific. So Paul, Carissa's dad, he said that Penny catered to Vernon's every little whim, like she was a robot to him. Right. He says that he doesn't think for 1 minute that Vernon thought that she would murder Karissa.
No.
Just because she wanted him to stay.
Yeah.
So I think that's. I think everybody
people thought that she'd probably send them to her.
I think that's probably what it was. I'm not sure if he said that. Officers think that what Vernon meant was to send Karissa back to her dad's house to live. Yeah. And if Penny didn't do that, he was going to move out. That's that's probably what it was.
And to me, as much as I still don't think it was right if Vernon was suggesting that, at least that would have been a better way.
Yeah, of course. I mean, everybody has their own opinions and we have ours. And to me, I still would be like, well, no, sorry, my daughter comes first.
But then it's hard in that situation.
Of course it is.
If you're besotted with somebody, and you know, you could do anything for them. So, but let's say she had an option to.
There was an option there, yeah. There wasn't just the option. Oh, I've got to kill her.
Yeah.
Or I lose my boyfriend.
There been an option.
There was options that that means your daughter stays alive.
Exactly.
Because surely
every option should have been with your daughter staying alive.
Whatever option was thought about, it would always be with your daughter being alive.
Exactly.
So a psychiatric assessment found that Penny had borderline personality traits, including fear of abandonment, distrust of others, and dissociative experiences. She later told the parole board that she lost her mother to suicide at a young age. I don't know really what that had to do with anything. I mean, that's awful, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's a trauma, I guess, but...
It's not a reason to kill your child, though, is it?
Well, surely it's a reason to want to be around for your child.
Yeah, you would think that, because, like, if she's grown up without a mother, surely she would want her child to have a mother.
Oh, yeah.
She wouldn't want her child to grow up... Well, not, you know, the other...
Oh, yeah, but I mean, she would want to have that relationship that she didn't have with her own mum, that she could have with her daughter. And she's taken that away from her, not only her daughter, but herself, in a sense, because she's obviously killed her.
Who knows, So she later... I've done that bit. But at sentencing, the judge noted that there was no evidence of health issues, anger management problems, drug use or depression. It was concluded that Penny is capable of manipulation and articulate in doing so. The court document also said... A young, vibrant life full of promise terminated for a reason no more significant than Penny Boudreau's selfish desire to guarantee a love life that had no room for a child. What is heart-wrenching and defies logic is the simple act of allowing Karissa to be with her father or her maternal grandfather, whose lives centred around Karissa and who loved her dearly, would have provided her with that child-free existence.
Oh,
so there was two people that would take her.
That's what I've just said, isn't it?
Yeah. Any remorse flows from having an overwhelming case against her. So the judge addressed Penny directly and said, you can never call yourself mother in conjunction with Carissa's name again. And the words, mummy don't, from a trusting and loving Karissa are there to haunt you for the rest of your natural life. Penny received a life sentence, but she can apply for early release after 15 years. In 2018, she was granted escorted leave, so she gets to go to church several times a year. I thought they had, like, church services in prison.
Yeah, so good.
I don't think she should be allowed out, but my opinion. In a psychological report from 2017, it states that Penny is very low risk to reoffend. Well, she doesn't have another daughter.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean...
As horrible as that sounds, like, she murdered her daughter, she doesn't have another one.
Yeah, so it's kind of a given, that one, really.
Yeah. But the assessment said that her romantic relationships should be monitored to ensure that her risk remains low. It noted that attachment disruptions in early childhood appeared to have made her vulnerable to engaging in unhealthy relationships and reacting with extreme distress when they are in jeopardy of ending.
But then, I mean, I know obviously we don't know the full story, but we don't know what happened with the biological dad and the stepdad, so she obviously didn't murder her daughter after those ended.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, to say that that's to do with her relationships, I mean, it was one relationship that was supposedly ending.
I mean, if you remember, like, Paul had said that she changed after she split up with his brother.
Yeah.
So she obviously wasn't always like that. So how can they say that sort of stems from
Well, yeah.
childhood and whatnot?
I
don't know, but
I'm
Paul-
not an expert, but...
Paul says that he will oppose Penny's freedom at every turn. He said, ever since it happened, she has never faced any of the family. He says he wants her to look him in the eye and tell him that she's rehabilitated and that she should be out starting her life over again. Explain to him why she thinks that she should be able to do that. If she can give him one good reason why she thinks she should be allowed in the public and functioning again, he won't argue. But he says he can guarantee that's never going to happen.
No, doesn't sound like it.
So there you go. A mother who murdered her child because she thought that her boyfriend was giving her an ultimatum.
That's ridiculous.
Absolutely horrendous.
That's awful. Like, no, I'm sorry. That's just...
I know, what can you say about that? It's just,
I know.
no. You just don't do
But
that.
it does happen. I mean, it's not,
yeah.
I'm sure there has been many other cases where a child has, you know, either had violence against them or resulted in their death because of a parent's relationship.
Yeah. It's happened. And it's awful. I mean, obviously we don't understand it, but there is occasions where, you know, maybe family dynamics, you know, they don't work out or whatever. Mm-hmm. There's always a better option than death. I mean, if that child, as you know, if you think that child's in the way or you don't want that child, even if you don't have a family member to give that child away to, you know, there's people who will adopt, you know, like, yeah, it might not be great for the child, but it's going to be better than death.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, just...
That's it, there's always another option, whether, you know, these options are not always right or I would approve of as well, but I would certainly approve of them over somebody being killed.
No, I just don't know how anybody could do that. I mean, I mean, obviously I don't understand how anybody can kill, but to do that, and the fact was that she'd done that face to face with her daughter. I mean, I think we've said in the past that usually the killer won't, if it's somebody that they're close to or somebody they love, they don't look them in the eye. You know, they don't look at their face, they'll do it from behind or cover their face up. But she actually knelt on her and did it and watched her die.
Hearing those last words.
So sorry, that was another child at the hand of a parent, because the last one that I did was the dad and the stepmom, and this time it's been the mum. So maybe I'll have to kind of try and break away from that for the next one.
No, but you know, these victims and stuff, they do deserve to have their stories told.
Yeah, I know.
They're never easy to hear, obviously. But
no, they're not. They're not easy to hear. They're
we
not
are
easy
a
to
true crime
tell.
podcast, so we need to discuss them. So.
Yeah. So well, thank you for listening, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks again.
And if you would like to follow us on Instagram or Twitter, we are
crime_divers_pod.
We have a Facebook page,
Crime Divers Podcast.
You can email us at
crime_divers_pod@outlook.com.
We have a YouTube channel,
Crime Divers Podcast.
and we have Patreon, which is patreon.com/Crime Divers. Early access, bonus episodes, our undying love. Thanks, bye. Oh no!
Where are you going?
Say your bit.
And if you like us, God knows why, but if you could please just subscribe, rate
and review. Right, now we can say bye.
See you later.
Bye.